guys, welcome back to another one. On today's episode, what we were going to do is I am going to show you how to make lard at home. I haven't seen a lot of videos on it, so stay tuned and let's get this show on the road. Okay guys, so making your own lard at home is so easy. It's not even funny. It's going to save you money. And you're going to have the best tasting cookies and baked goods you've ever had in your life. And if you go back and look at some really old cookbooks, almost all those recipes call for rendered pork fat, which is essentially lard. So the only thing with making it is it takes a long time. You have to be patient. You can't rush it. So all you have to do is start with pork fat. So you guys out there, if you buy a whole pork from a farmer, or like I do when I'm making sausages, I'll go to the grocery store and I get a whole shoulder so that I have the mix to put in with my wild game for the grind for burger meat and, well, to make the sausages or burgers. So keep the fat. You can also, in some cases, go to your local butcher, especially if it's somebody you've dealt with for a long time, and ask for it. Tell them what you want to do. In some cases, they'll even give it to you. They've got so much of it, a lot of it gets thrown away. In other cases, you might get a deal. Either way, that's all you need to do. So the recipe is simple. There isn't one. You need fat and you need heat. So we've got the oven on. You want to keep it around 225 to 250. And then you want to keep an eye on it because you don't want to start cooking it. It's going to render down kind of like melting wax. So that's where it takes the time. And then as it's going, you just keep pouring it off and put it back in and then pour it off and put it back in. Anyway, we'll get to that stage. But for right now, all you have to do to get going is have your pork fat. And what you want to do is cut it up into small chunks. The smaller the chunks, the quicker it'll render down. So I like to use a pot that I can put into the oven. I believe there are slow cooker methods and all kinds of stuff, but this is the way we like to do it. So just cut it up into small chunks. Get it in the pot. And I'll get this done, and when it's all cut up, we'll be back. Okay guys, so we've got the pork fat all cut up. What I like to have handy is these little silicone baking containers. I don't know what the heck you want to call them. For making like little loaves and stuff. They hold a cup of the lard. So kind of a perfect size. So what we've done already is, because like I mentioned before, you have to have patience. I've got this ready to go into the oven. And we've already got one started here. And we're gonna pop this in. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to use this metal strainer, and it's going to kind of be a double strain situation here. So we're going to carefully pour this into here, and there's probably an easier way, but that, okay, take that out of there. I'm going to put it back in because you're going to do this in stages, okay? That goes back in the oven to keep rendering down. Now we've got this little fine strainer. You can use cheesecloth if you wanted to, but as long as you're going low and slow and you don't let it start to cook, you won't get much chunks in it anyway. So we'll just pour this into here. Okay. Because once it starts to get if it gets too hot and starts to cook, it turns brown. Now you won't have nice clear lard to work with. So you want that nice clear white lard, just like you see in the stores. So we're going to pour this into here. Should do it. And then we're just going to leave this out on the counter and let it cool down. Just kind of naturally let it come down. And it could take overnight for that to happen. You want it to solidify. You don't want to rush it in any way. So we will keep doing that process. Take the lard off, pour it into there, put it back in the oven. We'll keep rendering it all down till it's all done. And then once we have that done and it's ready to go, we'll come back and I'll show you the finished bricks of lard. Okay, that'll probably be tomorrow, so get some sleep. Okay guys, so it's the next day. We let them cool overnight so that they had all started to turn white and solidify, and then in the morning we put them in the fridge to firm them up, and now we're ready to go on to the next step, which is just wrapping them up. So out of the 9 pounds of fat, this is what we ended up with. We had this tray, that tray, and those 6 containers. So what we do is we take some parchment, just take a container, turn it upside down, and you want to work with this stuff fairly quickly, because it will start to get warm and then it gets hard to work with. So then all we're going to do is just fold it over a couple of times. Usually I would let somebody else do the folding so you're not getting lard all over the outside, but that's that. And then for these ones, all we're going to do is just cut them into 6. So, and I mean, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but get it close. And then take a spatula or something and dig it out of there. Again, we're not going for Betty Crocker pretty here. We're just getting it put so that we can use it to bake with. So, said, fold it over, fold it over. Okay, put it into the container. So we'll finish up and we'll be back. Okay guys, what we ended up with was 15 to 16 cups of lard out of the 9 pounds of fat. So what we'll do is we'll put it in a good airtight lid on this, and we'll stick it in the freezer and then just use it as you would you know, tender flake or butter or whatever. But I'm telling you, when you use this in your baking instead of that stuff, you're gonna love it. So like I mentioned yesterday when we started this isn't a very labor intensive process, but it is a long process. So I'd like to try to pick one of those rainy, gloomy, crappy days where you don't have a whole lot to do anyway. Start it in the morning and you just kind of babysit it all day, and then away you go. There may be quicker methods out there, but we find we get that very nice clear white lard that you want by just letting it take its time. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and remember to subscribe and like and share and comment and all that good stuff. And remember, it's never a bad day to be more outdoors.